All right.
I'd like to have a meeting of the Tumwater Tumwater Historic Commission meeting of November 21 to start, and I will do the roll call, and I'll flip this over. And Dave Shipley is finally here, so I'm here, and Alex. Here. And Dave. Here. And Renee.
Here.
Marnie.
Here.
Hey.
Hi.
And Don.
Here.
And Rob.
Here.
Nice to have you on board. Are there any changes in the agenda?
If you want to switch the agenda item, that would be the time.
Okay. And the thing that I would like to do is introduce the members of the Historic Commission, so Rob will know us by face and name, so that in order for him to go home tonight, he has to identify us without notes.
Just 4 or 5, come on.
So I'd like to try to do this every time we have a new member that comes on board, so we'll recognize people, faces, and names. And so, Rob, since I'm going to put this at the beginning so we can kill some time here. So, Rob, one, who are you? What is your background? Why did you join the Historic Commission, and what do you hope to get out of it?
There's a lot of things.
You have 5 more when you're done.
All right, my name's Rob Taylor. I'll give you the Reader's Digest version here. I am from Grace Harbor. I served previously on the Hoquiam, actually I'm still seated on the Hoquiam Historical Preservation Committee, but I got married and moved to Tumwater a year ago next week, as a matter of fact. So I'm a fairly new resident of Tumwater, and this seemed like a great way for me to give back. The history of the whole area is very interesting to me. I volunteer also at the Bigelow House and a couple other small things, citywide or countywide, and just a new way to be involved. Welcome.
Very good.
Are you self-employed? I am, as a matter of fact. I'm a small-time contractor handyman. I have a restaurant background. I've been 30 years or so in restaurants, and just sold a brewery in Hoquiam. That's kind of my last, maybe, my last restaurant, so we'll see.
Mount Olympus?
Well, we were Hoquiam Brewing, but we're buddies with the Mount Olympus guys. They're great guys.
Yeah.
They make good beer, too.
Alex, we'll just go down the table.
I'm Alex Rossiter, and I'm from Tumwater. I'm from Pioneer Stock here, and I've been serving on the commission for, I think, 14 or 15 years, and it's you know, I get to be a student, you know, and so pleasure to have you here and pleasure to meet you.
Good.
I'll pass on.
I've got soft shoulders and dangerous curves, so they named a road after me. Oh, no, never mind.
The meeting is now adjourned.
Yeah. Yeah, Don Trosper and our family got here 1892, but we're related to the founders too by Uncle Jesse Ferguson was in the Simmons Bush Party and came over the Oregon Trail when he was about 20 years old.
Cool.
So we bought about 60 acres from Uncle Jesse and have 25 acres left of the original that we still live on.
Really?
And I've been on this since it was started, I think, the Historic Commission.
18 something.
We'll call it the Trosper Commission pretty soon.
Yeah, they named a road after him, and it's not even dead yet.
Yeah, that's right.
My name's Dave Nicandri. I moved or arrived in Tumwater in 1973, so that makes me a relative latecomer compared to these guys. I was on the very first Historic Preservation Commission when it was founded in the mid-'70s.
Great.
I graduated up to the city council, elected in 1977. I love going to city council meetings and regaling them with what happened 50 years ago.
You can remember that much back, huh?
Oh, yeah, the short-term stuff that gets me.
Yeah.
I was director of the State Historical Society for 25 years, working principally out of Tacoma. That's where I met Renee when she was in the state legislature. And then when I was retired in 2011, a series of mayors have appointed me to the commission again.
And I'm Renee Radcliffe Sinclair, and I'm the newbie on this group. I think I've been here 7 years now.
Wow.
So yeah, this group has been around for a bit. During the day, I run TVW, which if you're not familiar with us, we are a private company that has a contract with the state to do gavel-to-gavel coverage of all three branches of government. And, yeah, I'm at least on my second, maybe third appointment, so, yeah. I love the history of this area, and I really am a fairly newcomer, moved here just about 10 years.
Nice to meet you all.
Okay, Marnie?
Okay, yes, I'm Marnie Slakey. I've been on the commission, I think almost 20 years, 18 or 20 years. After I retired, I began to work for the Dispute Resolution Center in Olympia, and I'm a mediator, and I mediate small claims as volunteer work. But I've lived in Tumwater for 32 years and loved it, and have just so enjoyed being part of the Historic Preservation Committee.
I could do it now. And I'm Dave. Nice job, Marnie. This is my third Historic Commission. I was on the Olympia Heritage Commission for 6 years, chair for about 3 or 4. I was on the Thurston County Historic Commission, chair for 28 years. And Alex, if you think it's around 15 years, you and I joined this thing about the same time, if I remember correctly. So we've been on that together, and I'm a retired history teacher. So I think we introduced everybody. Am I correct on that? Except Chuck Denny, who cares about him.
Back in a while.
We have approval of minutes, which are the delayed ones from back in April. So I assume you all spent some time reading this before bedtime, at some point in time. So, any changes to the minutes? If not, I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes.
I'll be glad to motion that.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of April 18, 2024. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you're a little late. Marnie, a little TV delay there. Any public comment? Oh, wow. Okay, well, welcome. Glad to have you. Are you Tumwater residents as well?
Eric and my wife Cindy were both, live on Tumwater Hill.
Nice having you.
Yeah.
Stick around, we'll put you to work. Okay, we are to the next item, which is the Olympia Tumwater Foundation update.
What do you want to do, Jeff?
Why don't you tell me how to pull that up on
It looks like we gotta flip the minutes, or the agenda again, huh?
Too late.
Oh, we have some other things on there,
You
good.
didn't actually vote to flip it, did you?
Didn't actually change, we didn't actually approve the agenda.
Oh.
Skip from roll call to minutes. We don't want to keep John
Pick the show if you can, Jeff. Microsoft show.
That one?
I think so, yeah.
Chuck, I am not seeing the video of the meeting. It's just a
Yeah.
dark,
Oh, okay.
it's a dark block with City of Tumwater letters.
It went off while you were back there,
Oh,
Chuck.
it did?
Did you have bumped something, or,
Yeah, there's like 16 things plugged in.
Let's call the fire department.
yeah.
You,
Or a teenager.
Yeah, that's what I'd say, it's the teenager.
It was a storm.
is it back?
No,
No, but that was a good,
you know, I can hear you though. It's fine. The audio is coming in well.
Good.
There you are.
Me.
Yep.
Oh.
Thank you, Chuck.
Whoa.
Okay, so we'll see if we can pull up John's thing and have Marty see it. None of those. Anybody has a great Zoom, capabilities, let me know. Yeah, Marty, I don't know that we're gonna be able to share this with you.
And that's okay. I'll listen to the conversation.
Can't share it, Chuck?
I don't know how to share it.
Put, copy my files to your desktop.
Copy to tab, no. Copy it to the desktop there. And to where?
Your desktop anywhere.
Down here?
Where, yeah, I have to minimize one of your other windows. Paste them on the desktop. Blue side, yeah, blue area.
Okay. Now you think I can share it?
You have to open it first.
Or make a run to Starbucks, then it went back.
You can see my struggles with IT today, it's all on here.
Go ahead and double click on it if it's there. Wow. Okay, now go to your other ones. Open your other windows. There you go, hit share.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I
There it is.
appreciate you guys learning with me.
Way to go, John.
Yeah.
Okay, Marty, you see that?
We could hire you.
Yes.
You're gonna be retired.
I got it.
Do you see a PowerPoint slide?
I do. Historic Preservation Commission, November 21st. Yep.
Nice.
Not to you, to John.
Yeah. That's the only slide I had.
Oh, that's.
You want to talk from here?
That's okay.
Come up too.
After all that and only that slide? Oh.
I'll close it. Give me the nod.
Okay. All right, next slide, please.
Yeah.
So I'm leaving as of December 16th. I won't be executive director anymore, but I will, at the foundation, I will stay on for a couple months to clear up anything that's happening. We have a History and Nature Center proposal into the state legislature. Some other issues that can help the transition for the new director. The new guy is Todd Cutts. He's currently the Downtown Olympia Alliance Director. Good guy, solid background in organizational skills and a good people person. I think he'd be a good fit. Annette Pitts, one of our board members, is moving to Wyoming. She'll leave our board. She's also the head of the Experience Olympia Thurston County Visitors Convention Bureau. She has been a big help to us the last couple of years in terms of advising on tourism-related issues, getting other things done, LTAC stuff for other counties. But this is just updating the foundation stuff. Foundation fundraising is going to be essential for our survival. The foundation, we currently have liquid assets of about $11 million.
that's a quasi endowment, if you will. That money is restricted. For example, a lot of it's parked for the house, Schmidt House. So we can't touch it all. So from that money, we pull about 4 to 5% a year, and that keeps the corpus in balance roughly over time. So that gives us about $500,000. We have $1 million budget. So the difference has to be made up somehow. And in the past, we relied on Schmidt Family, Olympia Brewing Company, a few other people to help us out, and those entities are going away or have gone away. The Schmidt family members are no longer really involved with the foundation, with the exception of one person, Schmidt House. So we have to look for other avenues to raise funds. One of the ways is getting help from the city of Tumwater, which has been very generous in helping us out, and I appreciate that. Also, we get funds from other entities, Heritage, First Heritage Commission, and others. And we have some donations for our scholarship programs, but we haven't really gone out and raised funds with a true campaign, fundraising campaign, and that's going to start next year. That's why I'm leaving. I don't want to do that. I'm kidding, but for our new building that you're going to hear about later on, we need to do this to raise funds, and it's going to help the foundation as a whole too. Otherwise, we've done a couple of financial analysis, and it's like we sunset in about 15 years if we don't do anything, any fundraising. So it's critical to our survival. Our proposed History and Nature Center, you guys saw it a number of years ago. It was a $8-point-something million project. It had an event center. It was going to have weddings, all kinds of good stuff. That just didn't fly with the board. So we redesigned it. It's more like a $5 million project right now. It's in the legislature's going to look at it this budget cycle. I'll talk more about that. But we've redefined it as an education center rather than an event center, if you will. So it'll be environmental education, history education, all kinds of good stuff is going to happen. The next 4 months are crucial. Let's talk a little bit about the park. We just had some recent surveys done by the VCB, of all people, and it shows that over 30% of our visitors live outside of a 50-mile radius, and of those, at least half are out of state. And they account for about 3,000 hotel rooms, or are associated with about 3,000 hotel rooms, which is about $500,000 in economic revenue. But the park, well, we had an analysis done by the EDC, and they found out that as we contribute, the park itself contributes about $1 million economic development to the area, mainly Tumwater. So it's a good number. We've planned for more interpretive signs in the park to recognize more of the indigenous peoples and more of the environmental aspects of today's life. For example, the estuary. We have an observation platform down at the southern tip of Puget Sound, which is the southernmost estuary, and it's going to be a 10-foot tidal flows there. It's going to be real nice, so we have that planned. We put in some safety rails on our steep slopes. We had a rock slide that closed part of our trail for a while. Tried to clean that up. We found out, hey, we don't own that land. Surprise, surprise. Every map we had from the brewery and everything showed it, but it was probably a handshake deal with the foundation back in the day. And lo and behold, we saw the real maps, and we don't own it. So it took us about 2 years and $50,000 in legal expenses to get an easement. But we have one now, perpetual. Now we can clear that rock slide, open the trail back up fully. But, and then we have control over the entire park again, which is nice to have in our pocket. We're also going to do some trail resurfacing either later this winter or spring. We have a company who found that's fairly reasonable. We're going to help us out with that. And we got some LTAC funds, not only from our history program, which you guys generously give us about $60,000 a year for, but also I understand that the city council approved another $50,000 a year for at least 2 years to help us out with park operations in terms of its benefit to the city, be it historically, whatever benefit we can work, and I'll work with Chuck on that to make that happen. But thank you, City of Tumwater, for doing that. Next, please. Our education, since our program started in 1967, we've given out almost $2.4 million, or over $2.4 million to local students. We typically award $140,000 a year in scholarships and about $10,000 a year in grants for innovative early learning programs. These are programs that are not funded by the school districts, that the teachers can ask us for, and some really good stuff comes out of that. And the History and Nature Center will serve as an important educational resource, so that's going to be one of our 3 pillars. The education side is going to factor a lot in that.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Your scholarships, are they for students who are entering a specific, line in college, or what are the parameters for receiving a scholarship?
They have to be Thurston County resident and go to post-secondary school, so it could be trade school, it could be UW, go for whatever, biology. So yeah, it's pretty.
Does it have to be a Washington State?
Have to be, yeah, schools have to be within Washington State.
Got it. Thank you.
And the Schmidt House, we're still trying to figure out how to make the best use of that. Karen handles the archives, and she's our curator and runs the day-to-day operations there. We have a few weddings a year, generate some revenue, but not a lot. We're restricted to 15 paid events a year by our tax status. Otherwise, we have to pay full tax. Rather not. So we're doing things like we have a 100-year-old Steinway that we use for little recitals, and these are 2 of our scholarship kids, actually. I just sat down and started playing, and they're pretty good. And we're doing more, and Karen's going to talk about the Schmidt House and operations later on, so go ahead, Chuck. So the History and Nature Center, it's going to be an educational and cultural hub. It's going to honor and talk about and educate on the environment, history, indigenous, past drives, geology. It's going to be an open interpretive area with changeable displays, interactive exhibits, the community space, which we can let our facilities be used by community members, as long as we just don't charge more than what it costs us to run it, and they have to be community members or a nonprofit. So not a wedding or something like that. We're going to have very few weddings there. So we can have community meetings there. It's kind of the best location around, overlooking the falls, so you can't beat that. And we have Fish and Wildlife people next door, and we're working with them on a proposal this year to the legislature for $2.5 million to fund a learning center there. So, and having them adjacent to us is perfect. We give them an easement free of charge to run their programs. So that's a good deal for them, and it will be for us if this happens. And of course, tourism and economic impact for the area is going to be really good. So this is the proposed drawing for it. The History and Nature Center in upper middle is where our current facility is, our administration building in Tumwater Falls Park. New maintenance building will be built across the street where we actually have a storage shed right now. That'll probably house the offices of the foundation as well. So the History and Nature Center will be a full facility. We'll have expanded parking. We'll do a couple other rearrangings, have a bus drop-off for kids and things like that. So that's the physical location of it. Go ahead, Chuck. These are some renderings, not necessarily what it's going to look like, but kind of close. We haven't really got the final design figured out yet. But we will have indigenous interpretation, of course, the history of the Olympia Brewing Company, city of Tumwater. We'll have a map of Puget Sound, since we're the southernmost point in the entryway, so that's kind of cool. The slide to the right shows kind of an aerial bird's eye view of it. Again, the location is fantastic. Go ahead, Chuck. This is a rendering of some kids coming in for a school trip. We'll have a bus area, and we're really going to work with the underserved and underprivileged kids too. We're going to offer free programs for the school districts to bring them in. So we're still working on that STEM classes, STEM activities. Yep. Again, what a place. Can't beat it. We have that nice little nature garden and overlook right there. And to the very far right is the city's ADA compliant trail that they put in, which is really used, and a lot of people like that a lot. But, another one just showing some activities around the facility, what it could look like. That one.
Hey, who's that handsome guy?
Okay, this is the boring stuff.
Haircut.
So we think it's gonna cost around, $5.5 million, somewhere in there. We have been appropriated $2.1 million already. That's in our pockets, ready to go, and the states get antsy because they gave it to us quite a while ago, right after COVID, and saying, why aren't you spending our money? But we've changed it a few times and certain things happen. We have a proposal that is in the Fish and Wildlife budget going to the governor right now at $2.5 million. That would be the Fish and Wildlife Nature Center itself, the educational center that we're gonna work with. We should know that by March timeframe next year, whether that happens. If we don't get anything, the project's dead. But if we get some sort of percent of that or factor of that, then back on the game, how much can we raise outside and back to the drawing board, see if we want to pursue it. We have private pledges over $200,000, and the foundation will contribute $400,000. And that gives about $5.2 million. So again, the Fish and Wildlife money is critical. So we will know whether this project is going to happen in March. We enlisted a consulting firm, Propolis, Kelsey Hulse, and she's going to be doing our lobbying for us, and that's critical. That's how these things work, how you get money. So that's it for the History and Nature Center. Any questions on that? And you guys, of course, will have to approve the design and everything about it, but so we're in our final push, basically 5-month push right now.
And the time frame
will
for
the con-
completion, excuse me,
Oops.
the time frame for completing the center?
Yeah, if we get the money, we can break ground in summer of 2025 and be completed within a year.
Good. I was gonna just ask about the concrete boats. Are they still slated to stay, or are they on the
They're
chopping
not
block?
going anywhere.
Okay, sweet.
Good.
Very good. Thank you.
Skip Schmidt designed those.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, kids like those. They used to have brass poles until the
Yeah.
cut them out.
Yeah.
But Ziegler's Welding replaced them for free, so they did. Nice little act on their part.
Don, did you say you're gonna have more signage along the trail?
Yes.
And is the fisheries going to put the signage in that they don't in their area?
Talked to them about that. That's been 3 years now.
Yes.
And they said they're still waiting on the tribes for approval.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Guess there's some sort of acrimony between the tribes and certain things that may have happened with Fish and Wildlife.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Because I know the standards are there, or the posts, or whatever you're gonna call it, but it,
Yeah, they sure are. They're blank. They're
Yes.
little graffiti targets, so
Yeah.
we'll get that filled in.
okay.
I think Fish and Wildlife has pretty much finalized, at least as a couple of years ago, finalized the text of the illustration.
Yeah, everything's
Their
done.
part of it. We're just waiting on the tribes.
So they're waiting for the tribal approval. Is it Squaxin or Nisqually, both?
I can't comment on that. I'm not sure. I just heard.
Okay. Okay,
I know they have to go through the hoops, and there's more than one tribe they have to get.
okay.
Oh,
Any other comments or questions for John?
I will be around for a few months, so it has been a pleasure working with y'all, and I've really enjoyed it, working with the city of Tumwater. I'm not going anywhere. I'll probably be on the board here, sit out for a year, and then come back on.
And I'm sorry, John, I forgot to wear the hat.
You've done a great job,
Yeah,
John.
We'll make that happen. That's for everybody, just like Oprah.
That's
You get it, you get it, you get it. All right, well, Karen's gonna talk about this. I don't know who this little codger is.
The haircut.
Go ahead, Karen, hit it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna update you on some of the things that we've been doing at the Schmidt House for the last year. History talks, I think, are what definitely bring most people to the house. We offer one talk a month from, January through May or June, and then take a summer break, and then start up again in October. So this year, we had talks about 6 degrees of separation from Leopold Schmidt. Yes, Homer Simpson really can be related to Leopold. We had, I think he's getting obscured by part of the, ribbon up there, but, had a wonderful talk in October by, a member of Sons of the American Revolution about the history of the U.S. flag. Hundreds of things that we didn't know about the U.S. flag. And next month's talk is going to be by somebody we know, Dave DeCandre, who's going to be talking about discovering nothing in the Northwest Passage. So those are, those history talks that we have are definitely the top, bringer of people to the house. And we normally have, it's hard to predict the number of people who will show up, between 20 and upwards of 60. And let's see, some other topics that are coming up in the, in January and onward. Jill Severn, who many of you know, who read her gardening column in the, Adult online magazine. She's going to be talking about gardening. Dave Welch, who some of us know, talked about, one of his, ancestors who was on the Oregon Trail. Dennis Larson, who you may know, who is a Ezra Meeker expert, is going to talk about the Schwatka expedition to the Yukon. George Walter, who writes a bird column for Joel, is going to talk about spring birds. And Gary Ritchie, who is our main rose volunteer and is a nationally known rose expert, is going to talk about roses and history and some other things. Okay, next slide. Oh. I'm surprised nobody has asked me how Homer Simpson can be related to.
How is Homer?
Yes, Karen, you should add the fact that your, foundation also goes beyond just, the Schmidt House talks, because obviously we met at, Lacey City Hall and you gave a talk on Homer.
Yeah, I'll talk about some of that.
Okay. Okay.
As far as Homer Simpson goes, the Reader's Digest version, Matt Groening, who is the cartoonist behind The Simpsons, he based Homer Simpson on his own father, who was also named Homer Groening. When Homer Groening in real life got out of the service, he started a low-level job with an advertising agency in Portland. And he worked his way up the food chain and eventually became vice president. And as a vice president, he handled several accounts on his own, and one of them was the Olympia Brewing Company.
Wow.
So that's a pretty direct connection there. One of the, let's see, well, before we get to this slide, you can leave it where it is though, Chuck. I just want, since you brought up outreach, Dave, we do outreach also. We don't just invite people to the Schmidt House. We take the show on the road too. I've done some talks at, as you mentioned, City of Lansing, some retirement communities, Olympia Regional Learning Academy, some clubs around town like Olympia Lions Club. They're always looking for speakers. So we try to bring them the same kinds of talks. We also, let's see, I'll get to that one in a minute. We have provided some displays for things, like a display about the Sunset Drive-In for Chad Harvell when he was doing his Screen on the Green things there. I've also provided research and appeared on camera for the King TV story on the Davis Meeker Oak. The Olympia recently did a story on the Carline Bridge and the Totem Pole, and I provided research and appeared on camera for a new video that's coming out, I think this Saturday. Oregon California Trails Association is doing a video about George Bush in history. I think they're going to mention George Washington, or from Centralia too. So those are some of the outreach things we do.
What about the early one, the History Channel?
Oh, yes, it was 2023 when we did that. Some of us, Paul Knight, who most of you know, retired brewmaster from Olin, he and I appeared on camera for a show that was being filmed and produced by the Discovery Channel. Discovery Channel. And we haven't seen it yet. It was supposed to be out, I think, in May or something, but I haven't heard anything about it recently, so I'll have to check them, see what that is. But that's gonna be on TV. We'll see. So some of the events that we did this year were Summer at the Schmidt. We had 2 events. The lower one was our first event in July, and it featured some great Model A's. That was a small event. We're kind of putting our toes in the water to see if having events, some special events at the Schmidt House would really work. The first one was not too well attended, but we learned some things from it. The second event, which was in August, was much more well attended, probably because we dropped the ticket price substantially. And we had fantastic help from Procession of the Species and Eli Sterling, who's the director there. It was a magical night. As you can see, there's the huge rhino on the left there. They brought in so many floats and costumes and whatnot that they typically use in the Procession of the Species parade in downtown Olympia. And it was wonderful. We had food there, and it was great. So we're going to try to build on that. Next year, we want to have a similar event, and probably any funds that we raise will go towards a special scholarship that we set up that is for music scholarships for the Tumwater School District. So this be just on the little money that we raised here on our initial events, we were able to provide scholarships for 3 schools, and there we bought instruments for them and also some music theory books. So we plan on expanding on that every year, but all the funds raised will be for we give the money to the school districts, and then they parse it out to the music teachers, and then buy whatever they need with it. So it worked out well, and we hope to build on that in the future. We also had, this year, we had 3 piano recitals where we offered area music teachers the chance to bring their students in and have their annual recitals. Their students playing on our 99-year-old Steinway, it'll be 100 next year. And some of the kids have never, well, and some of the adults too, because they have adult students too. Most of the kids have never ever played on a real piano, 3D piano before. They've used digital keyboards and stuff. So it was a real thrill for them to be able to play on something digital. We had, between the 3 recitals, we had about 250 people.
Wow.
Mostly grandparents and family members and whatnot. So that was a real neat thing too. And having the piano played is a good thing for the piano as well as us.
What is the capacity of that main room?
3 rooms together.
Yeah.
As you remember, for those of you, anybody not been to the Schmidt House, maybe you haven't been, or no, you said you have been to District 5.
What is the capacity when you get the chairs in for your talks
Yeah.
and for the recital and what have you?
We can comfortably fit up to about 80.
Okay.
Anything beyond that, we kind of get
Yeah,
beyond our fire department.
yeah.
Rules and how.
Okay.
They don't really have it there. Seated anybody, but just stand up and mingle. You can fit up to 100 or so in there.
Okay.
But the piano itself takes up a good amount of real estate.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
We also had, and I don't think I have any pictures up here, but I do, so let's go to the next one here. Skip around here, we're, our rose garden, Centennial Rose Garden, has really taken shape the past 2 years. The old Centennial, and I use the word old loosely, the old Centennial Rose Garden volunteers have been aging out. In fact, a lot of them have died. So there are about 4 or 5 volunteers left, and they really needed help in taking care of that rose garden. Been up there, you know, it's a pretty big rose garden with a couple 100 bushes, and we just needed more help. So we were lucky enough to partner with the Master Gardeners
Mm.
of Thurston County. We offered them, a day back in 2023 where we had, a workshop for them. And we had food and drink, and 24 of them came, and of those 24, 12 of them have stayed on to volunteer at the Rose Garden. So they're learning from Gary Ritchie, pictured here, who, as I mentioned before, is a nationally recognized rose expert. So they're learning from him about how to take care of their own roses. They're able to use, I think they're able to use some of that for recertification as a master gardener, and they're taking care of the garden. We also this year offered a rose photography workshop with Rich Bear from Portland, who's a nationally, in fact, internationally known rose photographer. One of his roses was featured on a U.S. postage stamp a few years ago, so he's right up there. And the students who signed up for that class are really thrilled. And the Schmidt House and our own on-site rose garden were a perfect venue for that. That was just an extra visitor up there, who was kind enough to pose for all the students in the class. Okay, next. And this was the DAR exhibit that happened this past April. Daughters of American Revolution had a chance to acquire for a loan a traveling exhibit that was traveling across the country. And Shirley Sterling with DAR really pushed that forward, and she thought the Schmidt House would be a perfect venue for that. We had the venue, or the exhibit consisted of several panels that stand up, and we had those inside, but we also had lots of auxiliary exhibits and beautiful costumes from both SAR and DAR. And we had over 700 people visit the house during the length of that exhibit, which included 150 students. So we had students bussed in on field trips. Or maybe you would believe how much it costs to bus a class of students to our off-site place. We raised some money to bring one group from Griffin School in. And it was just lovely. We had some speakers, we had live music, and it turned out great. We were one of only 3 places in Western Washington that got that exhibit for this year. And some other things that are going on. I have several great volunteers that work with me in the basement archives, and one in particular has been working on our art closet. We have lots of framed art in the house, and not all of it by any means is on display, but she's been going through all the framed art we have, cleaning it, not cleaning oil paintings, but just dusting and whatnot, and cleaning glass if something is behind glass, and putting cardboard corners, protective corners over all that. This was a renovated room, and so it's now got shelving that's appropriate for art, and we're getting that all cataloged too, so all that art will eventually be on our museum database software, so that we can find it easily if we ever want to have another art show. We have house tours. We had, I think, 21 house tours this year. I offer them every other week on a Tuesday, so if you ever want to come to see the whole house, you can make a special arrangement tour with me, a one-off, or come on one of our regularly scheduled tours. And the city helps with those because they help register people and advertise those. And we also, our virtual house tour, which is on our website, was funded through a 2023 county heritage grant, but it actually went live, I think, on the 1st of January, 2024. If you have a chance to go to our website and scroll down until you find the area for Schmidt House and look for virtual tour, and anybody, any place, can take that tour just by using your cursor. And it takes you through the house, room by room. You can go back and forth. You can go out to the grounds, and there's lots of history. We populated the different rooms with photos on the wall and different artifacts scattered around, and each one has a data point on it, and you click on that, and then it brings up information about that object or that room, or even the garden or whatever. So it's a great way for people to learn about the house if they can't come into the house. by physical distance, if they're limited by mobility issues and they can't make second, and third floor in the basement. So I think it's great. That's one of my favorite projects that we've done. We also published the Thurston County Historical Journal, which I hope most of you read. You should be getting copies through the city. And then next month, we'll publish our 25th issue, which is amazing. We started in 2016, and we're already at number 25. And that continues to be popular. Next, I think.
How many copies per month do you publish?
It's actually published 3 times a year. And we publish 500 hard copies. But after the current issue comes out, the most recent issue is put up online at the City of Lacey website. So you can always read past stuff online.
And what site again?
City of Lacey,
City of Lacey, okay.
and there's a full index there too, that's keyword searchable. So if you are looking for history on a particular subject, you can.
I'll go through the City of Lacey Museum or,
City of Lacey, through Erin Quinn Balcho, who's the
Okay.
historian curator for the city. And she has staff that post those issues online. That's their in-kind contribution to publishing.
Okay.
We also have more outreach. We have participated for several years now in Brewfest, and of course in Falls Fest, which is becoming ever more popular. What'd you have this year? 2,000, 3,000 attendees, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yes, a good number.
About 5,000 at Brewfest, and yeah, about 2,000, I think.
Yeah, anyway, so very popular, and it's a great family event. If you haven't been to Falls Fest, you need to come. You need to go to Brewfest too. Okay, next. Back up one.
I got the validation on that, it was like 2,200. Geofencing.
So some of the things we've been able to do are provide historical research. Chuck mentioned that earlier, that we do provide research for the city. Past year, we've provided some historical research on the Davis Meeker Oak. No reason for it to be called the Meeker Oak, but at any rate. And also about George Bush. So just to explain this, this photo, it's a Google satellite photo overlaid with the section lines, the section and township lines. And the blue overlay is actually where George Bush's land claim was. So if you're unfamiliar with exactly where he and Isabella lived, that's the coverage of their 640 acres. So actually, just most people think of the airport as being on George Bush's land. There's just a small piece of the airport that's actually on Bush land.
Where's the Park State Patrol hangar on that map?
Oh, let's see. I can find it here. Yeah, it's this farthest north one. So that's the hangar there, yeah, where Chuck has his cursor. And then right just between the hangar and the road, of course, is the oak tree. And this is, this part of the airport is really the only part that's on George Bush's land. And then this is all, that's Kippert's Corner, isn't it? Down
Yeah,
there? Yeah. So this is all industrial retail. Okay, now we can go to the next one. So some of the things that we've done in the past couple of years, this year we had a small grant from the Savinsky grant, and that's from, who administers that? It's not the state, is it? It is the state, okay. Who helped us pay for renovating the exterior first floor of the house, which had old lead paint on it, and had, through some, I guess, a number of years of painting and repainting and repainting and repainting, had a bubbling problem where the moisture was leaching through from the old siding. It was making the paint bubble, and it was lead paint too, so it was problematic. So we were able to hire a painting company to completely scrape all the old paint off using proper lead abatement procedures, and then repaint the house. So the first floor now looks pretty darn good. The rest of the photos were from a 2023 project, 2022 and 23 project, where we got a state heritage grant. We were able to, you probably know this already because it's a year or so old. We got a wheelchair lift on the west end of the front porch, so that now the first floor of the house is ADA accessible. We also were able to take over a part of the garage and turn that into an ADA accessible bathroom. So now we're compliant. People still can't get up to the second and third floor or the basement if they have mobility issues, but then again, they must have video and have access to the whole house. We also upgraded electrical and mostly the first floor, but also the basement, and lighting as far as utilities go. And then let's see, you can't see it, but, because the little inset there is obscuring it, but the basement archives are also upgraded, so we now have over twice as much climate-controlled archive space.
And that whole project cost about $350,000, and we got $110 from the state, so it was 1-2 match.
That's it. Any questions?
I will also add that next year is the 75th anniversary of the foundation.
Really?
Outstanding work.
Any questions or comments?
Have you heard much from Bob Krim? He used to tell the stories of the house tours. Okay.
He comes over once in a while.
Be nice to be able to get his stories down on tape or something, you know?
Well, didn't you tape him once?
Yeah, but it didn't quite work out. He needs a crowd to work off of. You know, 1 or 2 people came.
CBW got a piece with Ralph Monroe.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, that was very good. Yeah.
What percentage of the city's LTAC money does the foundation get? Not at all, really?
Yeah, there's, you know, it's,
What are the other major draws?
well, you know, that's what the committee does is evaluate each applicant and the draw that they have, and then allocate funds that way.
Does the 4th of July get some of that money?
Fourth of July Brew Fest, largest amount goes to the Olympia Air Show. The BCB gets a sizable chunk of that, and there's a variety of
We used to be helping out with the brewmaster's house, and it's after the fire and everything. I suppose that's put on hold or whatever. Or is the city of Tumwater still using foundation help to eventually get back to helping out with the brewmaster's history?
Well, you know, I'm super happy to tell you that this week I approved the final payment to the contractor at the house. So it's done. The flip side of that now is that everything that was in that house is in the box. So all the boxes are in the house, and they're labeled what room they came out of. So that's the extent of it.
Progress.
So there is a huge project coming to go through that. In fact, Karen and I talked about it earlier today. We hosted the Daughters of the Pioneers in their annual lunch at the Brewmaster's house. We talked about the house and what could become of the house and what they can do with all the stuff. So we've got some work to do.
And the Daughters are doing well with Crosby House too, still?
Yeah, well, what's happened is we've kicked the Daughters out of the Crosby house.
Temporarily.
Actually, it's just Chris that you met earlier did that.
No.
We have a fairly major foundation project that we're doing there, so all the work done in the house, you won't see it, but the house is still shifting and settling and creating some other problems. So we're going to stabilize the house and lock it in place.
Sure spent a lot of money on that thing.
Yeah, so the Daughters can't be in there while that's going on, so we're letting them use the Brewmaster's house, and I think we'll let them use the house for their meetings as well.
Good.
Okay, John, thank you.
Yes.
Enjoy your retirement. Gonna miss you.
Yeah, you.
Karen, keep up the good work.
Yeah,
It's always enjoyable to see your talks and hear your talks. Any other comments, though, so I can move on to other things on the agenda?
I
Chuck?
didn't really answer your question, and I always want to give Karen kudos. We use her as heavily as we can, and when
Yeah.
people call us with our questions about, hey, what's this? Or, you know, give me the history of this, and
Yeah.
if we don't know, then it's an email to the
Good.
foundation, and hey, Karen, can you help us out? And she always comes up with,
Are you getting pretty good archive help down there from volunteers and stuff?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
the volunteers are great. I've had some volunteers with me for, 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, yeah,
In every week.
that's great. Good, good.
So David,
Okay.
David,
Yes.
I just wanted to make a comment. I don't know if you've talked about it yet. I haven't heard it, but it was a wonderful event with the cemetery dedication that the daughters and sons did in Tumwater. I don't know was it in September? It was a wonderful event and it was really well attended. And there were like 6 graves, pioneer graves, that people migrated from to hear talks about, and a history and a bio of each of these pioneers at their grave sites. And it just was a really well-planned, carried out event. So, and I congratulate Tumwater and the Parks Department for their participation in it.
Good comment, thank you.
thank you, Marty. Yeah, that was a crazy popular event, which kind of the new light goes off for us on what we're doing. And, yeah, a lot of people are saying that cemeteries are becoming the new park. We had there were 400 hits on our website, and I don't know how many Facebook things going on that day, specifically for that cemetery event. So it was very popular.
Yeah. And we'll do it again.
We'll do something like that again.
Okay.
The Mills and Mills folks are kind of in charge of that, or not, or along with the daughters, I mean, or the,
No, our park staff did it, our arts person
Okay.
and our volunteer coordinator, one of the daughters.
okay,
We work with Mills and Mills on some maintenance stuff.
okay.
And the mayor came and spoke. It was nice.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you too.
Yes.
Thank you, Karen.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is the 2025 planning. So a lot of you people went back and forth on thinking we need to meet more often and do more things. So here's, I guess, the opportunity. And before so what are your thoughts? What are you considering? Because of health issues with my wife and I, and moving from a house of 1,800 square feet to 700 square feet, we've really been busy. But I tried to reach out again to a Mr. Schrader regarding the Grange Hall, and I'm hoping to get a response. I haven't gotten one yet, so I will maybe make a phone call, but it took me a while. I could not find the folder of all the information I gathered on the Grange House. And if you've ever moved from a house from 17 down to, it's in, okay, where did we stuff it? And which box did we put it in, and what have you, and what a chore. But I did find it. And so I'm going to say that's one of the things that I would personally like to work on. May ask you to help me on that, but at any rate, it'll include not only the Grange and what have you, but it'll also include the Wiki Farm, which is Marnie's little place where she lives. And it will also include the Hayes School, which used to be located across the street.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not able to find too much on Hayes School, but at least we're going to have a picture. And I'm hoping to post some type of signage, either on the interior or on the patio exterior of the establishment. The hang up I had before was Schrader was supposed to contact Starbucks and get corporate okay. And I don't know where we're at on that one.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know where they're going either.
No. They're downsizing. Other projects, you people, I'll toss out another possible project. I don't remember, when Shanna Stevenson did the, inventory of, historic sites of Tumwater, but I'm positive that's the last time it's ever been done, which is decades ago.
Yeah, it is.
And, that might be something of interest. Anything older than 50 years old is a potential historic site, in a sense, unless it's indigenous or something like that. But anyway, that might be another project that the Historic Commission could take on. I have no idea how you go about doing such a thing, but it would be a possibility. What are our historic sites, and in what condition are they? Who lived in that house, or whatever it may be.
Do we have a list
We
of
would-
the historic buildings that had been designated by the, whatever, the commission or the state or whatever, that says that they are historic sites? Do we have a listing of that?
Yes, we do.
And it's still accessible, you've got it, you know where it is and everything, I mean,
Yeah,
it gets buried after a while. Dave's house.
And the other issue too, and Chuck has talked about it, and that is a nomination of a house or whatever to be on the historic register and what have you. And one of the issues Chuck has always mentioned is the fact of lack of time and too many things going on and what have you. And I don't know what the answers might be to go back and encourage property owners to put a marker on their property indicating whatever historic event or what that site might be, and that might be another one. The property owner, if I recall the past, would have to pay for the marker. Thurston County, when I was on the Historic Commission, you could have a historic sign for your street that you're on. It's now 83rd, but in the old days it was called Davidson or something like that, and you get the brown sign. And the people who are doing it would have to do the research, prove it to the Thurston County Historic Commission that that indeed was a historic road or trail at one time. But the property owners or the person who is petitioning would pay for the sign. Olympia does not require, last time I knew, a purchase of a marker on the historic properties. It was done by the city themselves. And the last time I knew, they had like 400 markers or 300 markers in Olympia.
The difference there is that they're signing something from the city of Olympia that says that the city of Olympia owns that sign.
Yeah.
So it's not a gift of public funds. The city continues to own that sign.
David?
I'd like to go back a step in the process. We last met last April or May when the kerfuffle with the tree came up. And Chuck has said then, and privately, at least to me and probably others, I keep hearing, that there's no staff or resources to do anything. So that's why I was quite honestly stunned when this meeting was called, because, in fact, I kind of joked at the city council meeting earlier this week. Is that because I went to the city council and complained? Either give us some resources or put us out of business. And I did say that. Either give us some resources or put us out of business. Because we can talk about ideas till the cows come home on the wiki farm. And if we don't have any resources, it's a waste of time, quite honestly. So what led to the calling of this meeting and this particular agenda item?
Yeah, that's just me. There is no, mayor or city council to administer input on the agenda for that historic commission.
Has anything?
So this is just based on me hearing feedback or grumblings or whatever you want to call it from you guys that you're not doing anything. And in some sense, I agree with that. So I'm rather than it being a staff-led discussion, I thought, well, let me throw it back to you and you tell me what do you want to do? Where do we want to go? What what kind of things do you want to work on? Is it educational? Is it development of something? Is it the historic registry? Is it tourism, or is it kind of a combo of those things? What's the interest? Your makeup in the Tumwater Municipal Code says that you you put buildings and houses on the historical register. You provide information or recommendations to the council on historical issues, which they can and don't have to take, and you handle the certificate of appropriate process, which is important. But that's the outline officially of what you do. What else do you want?
And I will also add, education of the public.
So nothing's changed with our resources
No.
with the budget that was approved last Tuesday night.
But it will hopefully be approved on the 3rd.
But there's no new resources in that budget for our operation.
There were staff requests, but those have all been cut. The city is about $5 million in the red for the biennium 25-26 right now. So most staffing requests have been denied.
We've been an advisory role for the council, that they haven't asked us for advice much unless there's trouble like the oak tree.
Well, and, you know, Dave took a step back, let me take a step back. You know, we have a planning commission, a parks commission, a historic commission, and a tree board. The city council is talking about wanting to add a equity board,
Great.
commission,
Yeah.
and student council. You know, there's 3 more boards that, 2 of which would probably fall to me to do without additional staff. So we're gonna have a real conversation with the city council about what are the priorities and what do you hope to get out of these commissions? Because if you're not taking their advice, and it's not just you, it's the parks board doesn't talk to the city council either. Why do they exist and what's the real purpose here? So hopefully in 25 we're gonna get to that. But until then, I think we can still be productive in ways. Depending on what you want.
I go and talk to the council. I go many Tuesdays, give them a piece of my mind. And I gave them one not too long ago. The only time we meet is when there's some dirty work they want us to handle, like with the tree. Otherwise, might as well just throw the staff to the wind. So, I don't know. I mean, I've got ideas. I don't see the productive use of spending any time about what we want to do when there's no city commitment to implement a damn thing, quite honestly. So, I mean, I'd like that to be different, but,
One highlight is the Olympia Tumwater Foundation's programs for education and events and that kind of thing.
that's not our program.
But it's not us, but we can encourage them and encourage daughters, we can encourage all these other groups that want to do things, but us actually taking the lead on it is probably not in the cards. It'd be more like,
I don't want to throw cold water on it. I mean, I've got my own ideas, but, unless something changes regarding Chuck's availability, time, staff, resources, I just don't see the point, quite honestly. Now, I'll keep going to meetings. My friend here, Eric, right? He and I were there chiming in on historical matters. And, I enjoy going to those, giving them a piece of my mind, ridiculing them, quite honestly. There's a heavy dose of ridicule of what I do, consciously, because it is worthy of ridicule, what the city council does. If this meeting's being taped, is it?
Yep.
I hope that ends up in the minutes, because the council's treatment of it is fully worthy of ridicule.
Well, is a step that is necessary for us to formulate a plan and ask the city council for something, and then you put the question to them, would you support this? And then that's a measure of how serious they feel our role is as a historic commission. Just a
if we were
question.
to close down this mission, would it be a city ordinance and the city council would have to make an official, get rid of the commission kind of a?
Yeah,
ordinance?
they would have to vote to do that.
The certificate of appropriateness that we occasionally do is the big thing.
That's the biggest thing,
that's
for
the big
the legal thing.
Somebody has to provide that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, somebody does.
but it could be a city staff
I
Could be
mean,
the council potentially.
council, yeah. But David, I would say that we do have $10,000 every year that we can use. It won't go very far, but in the case of signage, it will pay for signage as an example, not that I'm pushing that necessarily. But we have not spent $10,000 except for donating it to the old brew house for some function or other.
Yeah.
So,
We have the 10,000 in the budget again?
Yeah.
But you need,
The thing we need is more bodies.
you need somebody to
yeah, we do.
Yeah.
push that $10,000 through the system.
Yeah.
We can't do it as private citizens.
You could hire a contractor to work with, you work with the city, planner or designer.
Why don't we hire the foundation?
Well, you know, and that's why I continually put the fact that we pay the foundation a fair amount of money
Yeah.
to do work for us.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we fully utilize those funds. I think they could do a lot more for us. We're paying them an extra $50,000 a year for the next 2 years, in the expectation that they're going to do more work.
But that's mostly parks work they're going to do for you,
And Schmidt
not
House.
history
No,
work. they're
No,
going to do.
it is, kind of whatever we choose.
Yeah, events and house tours and
Yeah.
event
So
talks.
it's the history talks, it's research that we ask Karen to do, it's help with our archive at the Brewmaster's house.
My Riverwalk tours and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, yeah.
No, I'd be in favor of contracting with the foundation for another $10,000 worth of, staff work. Does that money roll over if it's unused, or does it disappear if it's?
It disappears.
They disappear at the
Hmm.
end of the biennium. So if you don't spend it in the first year, you still have it in the second year.
Yeah,
Are we not, is next month the end of a biennium?
Yep.
Then it's the start of a new biennium.
Hmm.
So it's 10,000 for the biennium,
20,000 for the
20,000 for the biennium.
10,000 a year, yeah.
Is it 20?
10,000 a year for 2 years.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Where are we headed with 2025? And Dave, I appreciate your comments and taking time to go to the city council and
Yeah.
giving me your, I'll say it more than 4 bits worth. But, anyway, other comments, what would you like done? What would be the goals? Because one of the reasons why this meeting came about, I think, was the fact that you guys went back and forth saying, we need to meet more often and we have to have a purpose to have a meeting. And usually we don't have meetings unless the city felt that they needed something done, and that's been very clear for the last several years.
Yeah.
And most of that has been, dealing with, the brew house, the old brew house.
And then the Brewmaster's fire and that kind
So
of,
what?
the fire at the Brewmaster's house.
Yes,
that
Yeah,
kind of
that's,
Yes.
that's more dirty work.
Yeah, more dirty work.
Um,
Yeah.
but David, you may call it dirty work, but again, anything that deals with the historic district and what have you has to come before us, whether, you know,
And that's the ministerial function, yes, but, I mean, so somebody tries to burn down the brewmaster's house and suddenly we got something to do. The city gets the crazy idea that one of our principal historical assets should be cut down and we have something to do. That's not the way Historic Preservation Commission is supposed to work. That's what I meant by doing the city's dirty work. When they want something from us, anything we want, we don't have money for. They want something from us, hey, we need that commission.
out of curiosity, David, I would be devil's advocate on this one. What if we had a project that's gonna cost $30,000 or $40,000, whatever it may be, and it's a worthwhile project? We have 10,000 or 10,000, whatever you said on that, Chuck. We go to the city council, say, here's our project, would you approve it? Is that something we can do?
How do we get to the city council? You only get 3 minutes in public comment, and trust me, the mayor watches that down to the second.
Yeah,
I know that.
and if I can butt in, in a situation like that, I would turn that into an agenda item.
Yeah,
And we would go and explain the project to the city council.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it wouldn't be a public comment, it would be a an agenda item from the history.
Well, I would think it'd be an agenda item because, we're part of the city government. Quasi-judicial part of the government.
How much did those Highway 99 signs cost, Chuck?
You had 4 of them?
Testing my memory, not very much.
See, I'm an advocate for what I call easily recognizable public interpretive infrastructure. No staff is required, no buildings, no utility bills, no improvements, no nothing. You put a sign on a pole,
Yeah.
it's the simplest tangible work you can do. Myself, I get a lot of compliments on those historic.
Yeah.
That's just the beginning.
Yeah,
I'd like to put Pacific Coast Highway signs.
yeah.
I'd like to put up Oregon Trail signs. We got a great transportation infrastructure history.
Yeah,
It would be
99.
simple to do, we just simply need to, we don't, as I said, other than Chuck's time, we don't need any staffing, no utility bills. That's what I'd be in favor of.
And I see us cooperating with tourism especially, that's a big part of our history, and we need to promote that, because we're unique in the state. And so it's, it'd be worth promoting signage and, living history, you know, trees that are sprouts from the butternut tree and the sprouts from the oak tree and all this kind of stuff that are growing. But be, instead of statues, you have trees that are an offshoot of these historic pioneer trees or whatever. That kind of stuff, that would draw people off the I-5 and make them come on Old 99. We cooperate with the Thurston County and the city of Tenino and go all the way down and make the Cowlitz Trail.
But that's event oriented, that requires.
Yeah, that
time
is,
and
that's right,
promotion.
yeah,
A
yeah.
roadside marker
That wouldn't.
educates a person when they're driving on the way to
Yeah,
work or church or to Starbucks.
yeah,
Oh, historic Highway 99, I
Yeah.
wonder, you know, so
yeah,
that's, it seems to me, if we've only got $20,000 a year, clearly that's the league
yeah,
we're in. We
yeah,
don't have resources for anything else
that's right.
other than signs and markers.
Dave, back to your comment about the emails that were going back and forth, they were driven by suggestions from a council member about the tree project that,
I agree.
that Don just mentioned, as well as the totems on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And those two things. Just wanted to clarify that.
Yes, you're right.
I'm just trying to get clarification, was there, were there things asked for from this committee that were put into the 25, or the 26, 27, or 25, 26 budget?
Not
No.
other than staffing support.
Okay, I just,
Yeah,
does
that's better.
it make sense for this committee to come up with ideas and then put that into the budget? For me, I know that's, 2 more years down the road, and that seems like the only way you're gonna get money is to actually come up with an idea, put it in the budget and try to get it funded. If you, I'm just,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
try to maybe, walk that through the budget process.
Yeah, yeah,
possibility, and we run into this, throughout the department, all the projects we do, and if we're short of funds, we can ask city council, we can try to get it from other funds, we go out and we fundraise in the community,
mhm,
we sell sponsorships, we do a variety of things for funds. You can go to Thurston County and get a $5,000 grant
mhm,
easily. There are ways to increase the amount.
yeah, yeah.
Two projects that I remember here, discussing are the first one is the mural on the freeway bridge, just across on the Chutes Parkway, that big
The retainer wall.
not bridge, excuse me, wall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I remember talking about that, and it had some council support of the project, but I don't remember it going anywhere. But I mean, that seems like a really interesting project that could be history specific. It could be based off of a photograph of what the First Avenue used to look like. And that would be really interesting. That kind of goes along with not needing any sort of staff time or anything like that. It would just be a big, awesome thing to look at, and would definitely, if done well, would definitely, be exciting for a lot of people to come check it out. And that would get them, get them down to where the parks are and all of our historic assets. So that could be kind of a cool, draw for all ages, everybody. I'd love to see that take shape. So, I just wanted to throw that out there. If we're gonna make a list of projects to pitch to the council, that would be one that I'd like to see come back, and maybe we could talk about it and, hire an artist to do some renderings and get started. The other project that I really, would love to see was brought up by our own Dave McAndry, which is a city gate. Like a welcome,
Historic Tumwater kind of archway or something.
Yep, right over Old Highway 99, where the city boundary is. So something like that. I really think that's cool. I think when I see that at other cities, I think it adds something. It's really a nice place-making sort of, detail that kind of feels good when you get up to it. Really, I don't know. It works, in my opinion, for, making the place welcoming and homey. And, so anyways, those are two projects, just my 2 cents. I think those two projects would be really fun and exciting.
So visible.
That's the thing,
It would make the paper, it would turn some heads.
Now, I like
Arts
that.
Commission.
I like that gate idea, Alex. There are so many cities, including Las Vegas and Reno, where millions of people come every year, and they're greeted by a sign welcoming them to the city. And the historic nature of Tumwater could be displayed in some kind of, it doesn't have to be ornate, but a simple, tasteful gate welcoming people to Tumwater. I like that idea. I think, and that is something that I would think that the city council members would glom onto. I could be wrong, but.
There's also interesting, I made a 3-week trip to Phoenix and just got back. A lot of the cities have very nice entry signs, not an archway necessarily. Lodi, California has one, and Bakersfield has one that you're talking about, Alex. But the other thing is that we don't really have a really nice welcoming sign into the city, regardless of the overhead. So
Whether
kinda
it's
goes on.
overhead or like,
Yeah.
more of a
And
sign.
it seems to me some of the towns in California, every one I went to, they seemed like they tried to outdo the other one that was just up the road on telling you they are the center of whatever, or in case of Lodi, they're the center of wine country, but that type of thing. But it's a good idea, or a signage of some type.
I really like the idea of maybe, I don't know if this could be done, but having a contest perhaps with either high school or college students to design some kind of entry welcoming sign reflecting the historic nature of Tumwater. That way you wouldn't well, I guess you'd eventually have to pay for the sign, but you'd get people involved in the creativity and the thinking.
Good point.
I come back to our fundamental problem. Now, unless Chuck is telling me privately that he's not telling other people publicly. Chuck tells me repeatedly, he doesn't have the time to do any of this stuff. So the only, either we get more money to hire someone that Chuck can hire to work with us, or our function gets transferred to a department that has staff who do have time to work on stuff. I mean, why not transfer us to the street department? Trust me, I could get them to put signs up if we were a function of the street department. But when we're in the Parks and Recreation Department, no traction. So move us, attach us to a department that can spare 2 hours a month, or 6, or 8. Actually, the street department wouldn't be a bad idea. That way it would give us an angle on the oak tree too.
Yeah, an old 99.
An old 99, Oregon Trail,
Yeah, I like
all that stuff. What would the street department think if we made a motion that we want our staff function moved to the Public Works Department. Who's the head of Public Works?
Public Works was cut in half after Jay Eaton retired.
Oh,
So now it is the Water Resource Department, which does storm, sewer, water, and transportation and engineering that does streets.
That's what we want.
That's who.
We want transportation and engineering.
yeah.
Who's the head of that function?
Brandon, he was the assistant director,
That guy.
How many city, what volume of city resources get sunk into, I won't call it maintenance exactly, but it's the closest word that approximates the attention, is sunk into the maintenance of the Crosby House and the Brewmaster's House. What does that amount to typically on an annual basis?
Money-wise?
Yeah,
Staff time,
Yeah, I don't know.
well, there's no staff time. Well, that's not
mowing
true.
lawns. and
Mowing
stuff.
lawn, yeah, there is staff time.
But, I mean, you probably all been involved in some way in taking care of an old house. There's always something,
Yeah.
that's going on. So,
Like the foundation work, that's a city capital expense?
Yep.
How much?
well, in the next year, it's gonna be a foundation, new roof, some new siding, gutters, and paint.
That's
to
a
the
big-
tune of about 400.
Okay,
Yeah.
$400,000
Mm-hmm.
for a white elephant, just calling it like it is. You got two of them. So you're talking about $500,000 a biennium going into the upkeeps of these, that are not open to the public, that we don't have the resources to maintain and operate. You have biennium after biennium after biennium, the money is just plowed into those sinkholes. City ought to seriously consider selling those properties, quite honestly. There's a radical idea.
Yeah.
And devoting the resources
Yeah.
otherwise going to them. I mean, you can covenant their use.
Yeah.
You can buy this property, but you gotta maintain it to the standard
Yeah, yeah.
we stipulate at the time of sale.
Yeah.
You can gain some kind of, you can grant some kind of public act, 2 days a year, 3 days a year.
Mm.
The building has to be open to the public. Given the dearth of accommodations, generally, housing shortage, we're always talking about, those properties would sell. People would pay the city to acquire those properties.
Hmm.
I should run for city council.
Yeah, there you go.
You right now.
Yeah. You bring fireworks back and everything.
Yeah.
Any other comments for,
Will all that end up in the minutes?
I
That's Rick?
don't write the minutes when they're online. It's a recording secretary that will watch the meeting and do the minutes. So
Do you think the council reads the minutes?
I'm not gonna answer that in minutes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes.
What would the process be like to transfer departments?
The mayor would, or the city administrator just simply send out a memo. Historic Commission's attached to the Public Works Department from this date forward.
And that would be generated by a motion from us?
We could make that motion.
Well,
Unless
you
we
know,
get more reason.
well, let's hold on a minute. You know, if you think that getting the Historic Preservation Committee transferred to another department is gonna loosen up any additional staff time or hours devoted to historical issues, you're crazy. The Tumwater has a serious budget issue, and staff
liability.
resources have been cut and cut and cut. So let's be practical, let's be pragmatic. It doesn't do any good to bitch and moan.
Yeah.
I like
have to-
pitching and moving.
Well, yes, you do. Yes, you do, David. Yes, you do. But I like to see us be constructive. And what is it that we can do? You know, we've gotten, the Parks Department has served us well for a lot of years. They're going through a rough time and they don't have a lot of staff time, and I understand that. Maybe we just have to be creative about how to generate some support for some of these
At least for
projects.
more signs.
Yeah, at least some more signs, but there are some very good ideas that you guys have tossed out about the gate, or the entryway. I think that's a great idea and one that should
Yeah,
be pursued. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
yeah.
One of the reasons I love this signage or gate is if you don't know, it's impossible to tell where Olympia ends and Tumwater begins.
Yeah, we need a division.
I like that, yeah.
I
Good
really
point.
like that.
Yeah.
And the same thing true for the cities, the 3 cities here.
Yeah,
It's all, yeah.
they all kind of run together.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
It's been fun to have a
Anything-
meeting.
Tumwater is 5 years older than Olympia. So if you're gonna change
And
that,
10 times more important.
well.
At least.
Yeah.
Okay, anything good to the cause?
Well, food for
Any
thought.
proposal? Say it again, Marnie.
I'm just saying, we've got good food for thought. It'd be nice for us to reflect on these ideas, and if we can generate some concrete specifics about how to carry out some of them by the next meeting, hopefully we can meet, sooner than once every 8 or 9 months. That would be helpful.
Yeah. Maybe a January meeting or something,
That's,
after the holiday.
that's our next meeting, projected meeting.
We'll make book on whether that meeting's held or not.
Usually the first one of the year is not
Meeting
too.
schedule, I'll take that money.
Coffee at Starbucks, Chuck?
Yeah, I think we can have that meeting. Let me tell you the way that goes. It's just me in my office saying, I have to have your agenda done and in for publication a week and a day before your meeting. So sometime that week, I am thinking, what does the historic commission have to talk about? Is there something that the historic commission can do, and trying to come up with things, for you to talk about and for you to do. So it's always helpful to hear back from you,
Yeah,
and have this be board driven and not so much staff driven.
yeah,
About what you want to talk
and we can email in between times and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
about.
if I
Anytime you want to email me, it is fine.
If I can get somebody's technical help in pulling together a slideshow, I'd like to make a presentation on a series of transportation-related markers that would be a nice addition to the city's informally accessible information, but somebody's got to be able to put a slideshow together. I just need to be able to sit next to somebody.
We can do that in the office. I Zoom on the web, back and forth, I'm not great at, but PowerPoint I can do all day. So,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Okay.
done.
Just don't put so many signs up that Pioneer Park has in there, because Pioneer Park has a ton of signs, as I've been told many times.
We, the Parks Board with their funds actually, funded a sign design, process for us, so we're going to come up with a specific park sign design and the way we do signs, and that's.
You mean reduce the number?
It's gonna change it.
You're gonna reduce the number?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. I have an idea that John is retiring. Is there appropriate that we give him at least a thank you for his service on the Olympia Foundation? I think it would be a nice gesture. So I'd like to make a motion
Yeah.
that we give a letter of gratitude and thanks to John for his
I
service.
so move.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay?
Here, here.
And seconded?
Here, second.
And any discussion of that? It was not on the agenda. I apologize. All in favor?
He was
Aye.
very instrumental in our history programs.
Anything else before we adjourn? Next meeting is gonna be January 16. Hopefully we will meet then. Will entertain an adjournment motion. David, you already had yours, so it's Renee's time.
I move to adjourn.
Okay, David?
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded, and all in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Bye.
Marnie,
Thanks for the
you can't
meeting.
leave.
Marnie.
Marnie, you can't leave. You gotta continue the meeting.
Why?
All in favor?
Good night.
On-
It was good. Thank you.
Is the recording off?